Say it with me. Okay. Real time, real time, real time, real time, real time, real time. Prince Blue. Real time, real time, real time, real time, real time, real time. Prince Blue. Talk that, talk that, talk that, talk that, talk that. Coach, coach, talk that, talk that, talk that, talk that, talk that, talk that. Coach, coach, talking entertainment too. Look, we are not the same as you. Look, we don't need a thing, just you. Just make sure the gang come through.
What is going on, everybody? What is up? It's Real Time with Prince Blue. It is Friday. It's 8 o'clock, and I'm bringing you another episode because I had another guest that just I've been trying to get him on for so long, and finally everything matched up, and I'm so excited to have him. First of all, I want to thank everybody for tuning in and watching, and make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and spread the word. This person I got coming on, man, I've known him for a while, from Eagles Twitter, and he took a unique career path that I didn't see, I didn't know, and I'm just so anxious to talk to him about it and see how it's been going and where's he going to take it. The one and only Steven Puga. What's up, Pooh?
What's going on, Prince? It's finally happened. We're finally doing this. We're here. Real time with Prince Blue. I've been waiting to get on this show for like about a year now. So finally here. And yes, it's funny. It's funny. My dog's walking in the back. It's funny that you say an interesting career path because I didn't even see this coming either. Comedy just landed in my lap like a slutty drunk girl at a bar, and I just went all the way with it. So
Hey, and we're going to talk about that, man, because you're definitely on the rise. You're for those who don't know, Puga is traveling as a stand-up comedian, and I envy you, man, and I'm afraid for you because you picked a crazy time to do that because of the whole culture and everything that's going
Mhm.
on. First, let me ask you, what made you get into stand-up comedy?
Well, I back in I've been only but for the record, I just want to let everybody know I've been doing stand up for 10 months. I'm still a baby in this game, and things are going a lot better than what I expected. Um, what's it called? I started doing stand up. I went to an open mic back in January at my friend's bar. She owns a bar on the west side of El Paso, so I go there to eat, and they have good food. And I didn't even know what an open mic was. It was just, and then all of a sudden, this guy shows up. His name's Jerry, and he's the producer of these shows. He puts all the shows together for us. And I didn't know who he was, so he sets up a banner, and it says El Paso Underground Comedy, and then all of a sudden like 20 comedians come into this little bar to tell jokes. And at the time I didn't know what it was. I just thought it was like a comedy show. I didn't know what it was, an open mic where people anybody could really go up and tell jokes, and I don't know if you listened to the previous podcast that I did um, back when I do it back in the summer. I was pretty pissed off that the comics were there because I didn't want to hear comedy. I wanted to hear music, and yeah, and then I listened to these guys, and they were pretty decent. So I thought I'd give it a shot, and I went home that night from the open mic, and I didn't go up. That was the first night I saw it, and then I went back home. I wrote some jokes, and I went back at it. I went back the next week, and I was so nervous, man. I almost did it. I almost backed out of not of doing it. I was literally the last guy to go up, and I ended up doing pretty good for my first time. And no, ever since then it's just been a snowball of things that I didn't even expect to happen, man. Honestly.
That is crazy, man. Let me For those who don't know, like I have a little secret of my own. Like for my seventh grade talent show, I actually did a comedy set. And what the only thing I did was I just got up there and I impersonated um popular teachers and I did like impersonations of them. So I didn't do exactly like
Oh, nice.
jokes and stuff. Well, I was making jokes on them and then I would impersonate them. But far as like storytelling, setting up jokes and things of that nature, I didn't do that. And before the pandemic, I was going to take a stand-up comedy workshop here, and you do it for like 8 weeks, and then it all builds up to you doing a show with the rest of your classmates, stuff like that. But of course, the pandemic happened, so I never got to that. But Pooh, tell me about the whole
Yeah.
writing jokes process, because I'm thinking people just get up there and they're funny. I didn't know that there's like a writing process. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Oh yeah. Well, you know what? Writing is the hardest, is one of the hardest things to do, because especially when, like, my type of humor, I lean more towards doing dark humor. I talk about things that people don't really want to address out loud, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, you have to write your jokes. For me, I have to write my jokes very carefully. The grammar and the way you tell your joke is all part of the writing process. Like, when you're writing out a joke, you have to, obviously, you have to reel in the crowd first, and then you go into your premise, like, oh, like the other day I was doing this and I saw so and so, and whatever, like, just the way people do. But for me personally, um, I get into it right away. Like last night, it was I have a premise about you know my grandfather. He's 90 years old and he got completely trashed for his birthday. So I had a bit
Mm-hmm.
about that, and I told the crowd, like it's all about the setup. Writing, when you write a joke, it's all about the setup. I told my grandpa, like, hey, do you want a beer? And he's like, no, this is my first one. And I'm like, oh, okay. So then 2 hours later, I come back to him. I'm like, hey, grandpa, do you want another beer? And he's like, no, this is my first one. And I tell the crowd, like, we party for 7 hours. And how did this guy get drunk off of one beer? And I'm like, well, and it dawned on me, the guy has Alzheimer's. Of course, every beer he grabs, it's gonna be his first one, So that was just a little
Oh,
warm,
I don't want to
but no,
upset the
it's all about.
Alzheimer's crowd. Hold on,
Oh,
for foolish. Let's make sure we don't upset those. Blah blah blah. Blah. It's comedy, people. Like, relax. It's his own grandfather. Like, he can
yeah,
tell the
no,
joke.
no, that's a yeah, no, that's a kindergarten joke to compare to the things that I say. But like, when and honestly, I write. I don't really write out my jokes, Prince. I memorize them in my head, and then I go to the open mics and I recite them, and I do it over and over again. Even when I'm at work, in my head, I'm reciting the joke over and over, and I'm practicing it different types of ways. The ending, how should I say this? Should I say that? Because when you do dark humor, if you mess up one word in your joke, the whole joke goes to shit. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? So, and people will get pissed. So so you have to write it out, or you have to, well, in my case, think it out. When I first started, you want to be edgy, and you want to be edgy, and all the comics, that's very common for comedians to do when they first come out. They want to say the craziest shit. They want to say absurd things, which is what I was doing. The only thing is that I stuck with it. And uh, you have to just write out your joke perfectly. Like, it has to be perfect. And a lot of the mistakes I was making was I was saying the F word a lot. I was dropping the F bomb, like, all the time. And the guy who discovered me, the producer from the comedy club, goes to the open mics, and he likes them. And he told me straight, he's like, you know what? I like your jokes. Your jokes are really thought out. I like the way you think. The premises are great. The timing is pretty good, but just you stop cussing so much. You don't have to. The way you tell your jokes, like, if you're telling a joke about, like, for example, when I one of my first jokes as an open micer, my closer was about bullying a kid. It's gonna sound awful what I'm about to say. This, by the way, this is just a joke. This is just a joke. What I'm about to say, I had a joke about bullying a kid in a wheelchair, and when I was in high school, and when I would tell this joke, I have a lot of adrenaline going through me. I was just barely starting doing the comedy, and I would just say the F word a lot. F this, and I was effing this, and blah, blah, and like and Jibs, the guy, he told me, he's like, don't cuss so much. It's a great joke. The ending's perfect, but just stop
Hmm.
cussing so much. So I have to now since I write out my jokes, I only use those words if I need to, because I feel like when you do dark humor, you don't really need to cuss. Like if you're making fun of, I have a joke about my friend, make believe friend that I had who committed suicide, and you
Hmm.
don't have to cuss when you talk about that. The premise of the joke and the idea of the joke is already kind of crossing the boundary, so you don't need to say obscenities, but and like I see a lot of but everybody has their flavor, you have the black comics who I have a friend, he's in fact I'm gonna go to a show tonight. uh when he first started, both came in at the same time. He likes to use the N word a lot. I think that's a very common
Hmm.
thing for African American comedians to use that word. But I told him, I was like, hey, dude, you don't really need to say that the way you tell your joke. It's kind of the same thing. So when you write out a joke, it's really important to set up your premise right away and just get them laughing as
Hmm.
soon as you can. Like you have to have I like to have at least two or three like quotes or punchlines in the joke before I get to the actual hit. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun writing or thinking of jokes. Like today, I just came up with one too, so it's gonna be great.
So when you're up there and you're telling your jokes, and I'm picturing like in the Joker when he would tell his jokes and it wouldn't land, he would go through his book and be like, okay, and he'll go through his
Oh
book.
yeah,
You know the meme where the Joker's like standing there like waiting for the
yeah. He's like,
crowd
look,
to
yeah.
so
Yeah, yeah. It's funny you say that because the showcase that I did last night that I would typically struggle at. It's a
Mhm.
hipster bar. It's downtown. It's right next to the Pride Square where all the
Alphabet
LGBTQ
community.
clubs are at.
Yeah.
The
Uh-huh.
alphabet community, as Dave Chappelle likes to call them. But
Mhm.
uh, this bar I would struggle at, and about I want to say in April or I can't remember, but I went to an open mic there, and the place was freaking packed. I mean, it was packed to capacity with people for an open mic, which is uncommon because when you go to open mic, it's usually just a few people there that are there to drink, and like most of the
Mhm.
people in the crowd are comics. But this place had a mixture of comics, but there was more people there to hang out and have fun and listen to the comics. And everybody's doing great sets. Everybody's killing, and then it's my turn, and I go up there, and I opened up with I forgot I opened up with a joke about necrophilia, and the crowd, the whole mind that entire set, nobody laughed. No one laughed. Like you could like for the I ate shit for 8 minutes on stage. Like and it got to me,
Woo!
because let me tell you, I was so used to the crowd going like ooh and laughing at the things that I was saying, but this time it was a crowd that just was like not having it. Like they were just completely. I'll never forget it. Like completely. Like you could hear a mouse fart in there. That's how quiet that bitch was. Like it was just like, and you don't know awkwardness. Like people think they know awkwardness. Go to an open mic, start telling jokes, and just bomb, completely obliterate your. And I had to question myself after that. I was like, can I really do? Because it did bother me. It bothered me for about 2 days. I was like, because that had never happened to me. And I went back, and of course, the guys are so supportive. The El Paso comedy community is supportive of each other. So I went back, and um, I was sitting there by myself, all upset, because and everyone's having a great time because they're killing, everyone's crushing, except for me who just ate a bag of dicks on stage. So like, I I was just sitting there so upset, and they're like, "Hey man, you're gonna be okay. Shit like that happens. Like you got to remember, you're doing the hardest type of comedy. You're doing the hardest type of comedy, and you have to just correct your jokes, cut the fat, don't take so long, and get to the punchline quickly because you can do it. Your cadence is there, your voice is there, but the jokes have to be written a little bit better. So yeah, that's one thing I'll never forget. That was fucking crazy, dude. Yeah, and I still think about that, and it's funny that I bring that club up because yesterday I had a showcase there, and I absolutely just killed last night. Everybody was laughing at everything I was saying, so it was a little bit of like a redemption for me last night to go back onto that
Mhm.
stage and just be like, you know what, like I remember the first time I was here and no one laughed at me, and now I'm back on this stage 6 months later, and I'm opening for a headliner that lives here in El Paso. He's a really popular comedian, and I got to open for him. So
Mhm.
like, and I crushed it. And in fact, I don't want to sound too I don't want to brag too much, but I feel like I did better than everyone else. But but yeah,
Well, you
so yeah, it
have
was
to.
great. It was
You
great.
have. It's okay to feel that way and to be confident in your abilities, because being a stand-up comic is all about confidence and all about believing in your jokes and what you're saying. What I do want to know is um there's been recent controversy with Dave Chappelle. I mean, everybody knows if you're living under a rock, and I don't want to hammer the Dave Chappelle thing because I feel like that talks to the ground. I just want to talk about comedy in general. Um, Listen, I grew up with Pryor, Eddie, Bernie, Carlin, Martin. Um, shoot, you
Hmm.
can
Yeah, all
all
the
of
all the
them.
legends. Yeah.
Gallagher, all of them, all of them. So I'm thinking,
Hmm.
if people find what people do now as offensive, we wouldn't have had those legends back then. They were trailblazers, and now I just feel like comedy is just, I don't know what to think of comedy now, because we can never have fun. We can never laugh at it because somebody's always offended. Not even right then, but like it could be
Hmm.
10 years later, and they'll be like, remember when you said this, that, this you? And then that comedian has to apologize for
Yep.
something from 10 years ago. So what do you think about comedy now, and where do you see it going in the future in this era?
I think well, comedy I think has always kind of been under attack, and I think people that get offended um, probably just I feel like they just don't understand the premise of a joke to begin with. I feel like a lot of the people, and what makes me upset about the whole Dave Chappelle thing is I bet you 90% of those people that are outraged with Dave Chappelle who happen to be trans or gay or queer, whatever, lesbian, whatever they may be, they didn't even watch the special. They didn't even watch it. You know what I mean? And so they're just following what people say because I feel like they're just following the crowd and they want to be upset at somebody. But Dave Chappelle wasn't hateful at all. Like he making jokes? Dude, he was making fun of black people. He was making fun of Mexicans. He's made fun of everybody under the fucking sun. But the minute he started talking about the trans community, um, I feel like those people, uh, those people, like we're all human, but like they I feel
That
like they were
community.
just clamoring on to bicker about, yeah, that got so upset, and I don't understand why. If you listen to the special, he's trying to explain why he saying the things he's saying. Like if I'm saying this as a black man and I don't and it gains no traction, why do you say the same thing as a trans person and you gain tons of traction? And that's what he was trying to say, is like, I'm just the black man trying to bring things to light, but you guys won't let me because you feel like I'm attacking you, which in this case you totally wasn't. So and what
What?
also people forget is Dave.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Prince. Oh, I was
No,
gonna
I
say
was
what
saying
people forget is that Dave Chappelle's a
you're lagging, so that's why it sounds like I'm talking. But
okay.
go
All right,
ahead.
my bad.
No, you good.
No, okay. I was gonna say that Dave Chappelle is has a brilliant mind, which happened when he just happens to be a comedian. You know what I mean? Like I feel like Dave Chappelle can be a professor at a university if he wanted to. Like that's how smart this guy is. So
I
like,
mean, let's
of
be
course he's gonna
honest.
be very methodical, and a lot of people won't.
A lot of comedians are very intelligent, like high wit, sarcasm, um, quick wit. That those are the marks of a high IQ. That's why a lot of your comedians are talented writers. They're talented producers. Like they can set other people up. They're charismatic because that requires IQ. That requires a certain intelligence. And the thing is, I feel like with comedy and what Dave and everybody else is, it's like a mob mentality now. The amount of people I saw say, I didn't see the special, but blah 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 blah. And I'm like, how can you give a comment on something you didn't see or hear? No
Yeah.
context, no nothing. So what are you absolutely outraged about? And then what I love about that is the people that are outraged, somebody goes back into their tweets and their background and find that they didn't do what Dave did because Dave was doing comedy. They were actually being homophobic, being racist, doing this, doing that. And I'm like, so you just tried to
Hmm.
paint yourself as the holy Dalai Lama, and you're out here doing the same stuff that you're trying to quote unquote cancel somebody else for. That's the part of this era that I don't like is nobody's being honest anymore. Everybody's just trying not to be
Yeah.
canceled and they're being disingenuous. And that bothers me.
Oh yeah, no, and especially on Twitter. I look, listen, I love all my friends that I've tailgated with. You know, uh, we broke bread together. We've all sat at the same dinner tables. I literally travel across the country to go see them. But I don't know what happened to Twitter. I don't know what happened to everybody. Like everybody just became a like almost became like a giant pussy like overnight. You know what I mean? Like they claim to say things one time or one time, but they do the exact opposite in their actions. You know what I mean? Like what I don't understand is people want to like unite and be together, but if you don't agree, the part about uniting and agreeing with people is to agree with their indifferences with you. You know what I mean? And I feel like if
Facts.
you don't agree with the crowd, if you don't agree with the crowd, or if you don't, or in some cases, you don't even have to agree on football. It could be politics. Like politics is a hot topic right now, especially with Twitter that I see. You know, everybody. I have friends who are conservative. I have friends who are liberal, and I've had all of it. I've had everybody at my house hang out, and it doesn't matter. But if you go on Twitter, it's like if you say anything about anything politically or football, like whether it has to be political, sports, anything, you run the chance of like getting attacked for it, and that's what I don't understand. And I see a lot of the people that I follow doing that, and it bothers me a lot. I don't know where this type of mentality came from or whatever, but
I'm gonna
yeah,
tell
no,
you where it
it's
came
annoying,
from.
and I know what you mean by that.
I'm gonna tell you where it came from, Pete. It came from people associate followers with real life and status. So they feel like you see it like the little bots
Exactly.
that tell you who unfollowed you, how many people, like who gives a shit? Like I don't care. Like if you
Exactly.
want, like what I saw before a while back is I saw a lot of people, and I'm not, it's not that I'm looking for them, but like I'll go to tweet something to them and I'll hit their profile and it'll show I'm following them, but they're not following me. And I know for a fact we used to follow each other. So I'm like, so you trying to make it seem that I'm following you and you're not following me. Like, come on,
Yeah.
man. Like, don't be fake. Don't be phony. Like I did something wrong enough for you to unfollow me. So, you know, uh, do the whole thing. Like you don't
Yeah.
like what I say. You like what I say until I say it about somebody that you like or a cause that you're gung
Hmm.
ho about. But I'm like, I follow a lot of people that hate a lot of people, and people will be like, "How can you follow so and
Yeah.
so?" Because I can.
Yeah.
What do you want me
Yeah,
to tell you?
you, and you know, I just don't get it with some of these people, man. Like I just don't. I feel like a lot of people. I know I made a tweet the other day. I was like about a couple of weeks ago when what was it? Facebook went down
Mm-hmm.
or Instagram went down for like half a day, and
Mm-hmm.
I tweeted. I was like, all I said was, imagine how many. What did I said something to the effect of like if Twitter went. It's unfortunate Twitter didn't go down because most of you guys would have to go get a real life or something like that. And the people got so pissed about that. And I was just like, well, because it's true. You know what I mean? A lot of people
It's
live their
very
lives
true.
on Twitter.
Very
Like
true.
like Twitter to them, I feel like a lot of the people who want to be controversial on Twitter and want to like fight people and like go after people for their indifferences are the people that like didn't get enough attention in high school. You know what I mean? So I feel like they're making up for it with like their social status with followers and shit. But like I don't care about followers. I didn't get onto I get onto Twitter to talk football and tweet my shows
Right.
out and just unite with people. You know what I mean? But I feel like that's too
Correct.
much for some people that we know and see uh, online.
Like it was so funny, uh, SP. It was like it got to the point where making people were trying to insult me about either being retired, being a police officer, or like I give you a hint. Like I call somebody spineless on Twitter, and a
Right.
black man got he was saying this coming from the same guy who let a white woman spit in his face and did nothing to her, or was this another fat ass retired cop?
Hmm.
So my thing was, I'm a police officer. Somebody spit on me. If I would have punched her in her face and broke her jaw, what would that have done? What would that have done for you? I know what it would have done for me. I would have been out of a job. I wouldn't have been able to retire. That's
Right.
the thing. When you sign up to do what I do, you're gonna get some shit with the job. But that badge, the same stuff that he wants me to do, is the same stuff
Right.
that people hate cops for. So you want me to think because I have a badge on, I can just
Right.
haul off and punch women in the face. I can just haul off and punch anybody in the face. So he immediately sounds stupid. And the weird thing about it is
No.
what triggered me was people was liking it, and I was like, do y'all even know what you're liking? Because y'all don't want cops, but I see videos every day of hundreds of people on a trainer in a public place watching somebody assault somebody and doing nothing.
Exactly.
So
Hmm.
what do you want? What do you want? And that's the problem that's bothering me about social media. These people get behind their keyboards, they say this, that, and the third, and then when you're there or you're close, crickets.
Hmm. Yeah. Like I said, people feel like it's just like I said, it's just fake outrage, man. It's all fake because when shit gets real and they see things right in front of them, 99% of people will run away from a situation. You know what I mean? Like when shit gets real, you can talk all you want behind a keyboard, you can say everything you want, but when shit gets real, when shit's in your face, like, you know, what are you gonna do? You know what I mean? Are you gonna say the things that you said online, or are you just gonna pack up your shit and run for the hills? You know what I mean? And I already know
I already
and I already know like who's who. You know what I mean? Like you,
yeah.
you know.
But you're absolutely right, SP, and that's the thing that gets me is because breaking news to everybody, like I'm really like I'm so laid back and reserved. Like I'm a jokester. I like to joke, I like to prank, I like to troll. You see that. And That's all I like to do. And I also
Hmm.
like to take up for people that can't take up for themselves, or just not about that life. Cuz some people are not they're just not about that life. And then you got some people that go around
Yeah,
picking on specific people because they know that they're not about that life. And I just don't like that. I mean, I just don't like that. I wore the badge because I didn't like that. Because I want to protect people that can't protect themselves. So
yeah,
when I see people um bullying or talking out there, you know what, and things of that nature. I feel like sometimes, you can't help but say something because Twitter isn't real life, and I guarantee when you
yeah,
have to face reality, you are not having the same energy and tone that you're having on Twitter because everybody is just a knock
right.
away for somebody being on your doorstep and asking you, say what you said again.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. No, that's why. That's why I try not to get involved with like the Twitter drama. I think like the drama on Twitter when you see people retweeting things that someone said, and they want people to gang up on that one person for saying something. Like I hate that shit. You know what I mean? Because in a million years, like if you heard him say something, you wouldn't say anything back to him. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
you might have a disagreement, but you're not gonna like go and say, "Oh, look at what he said. Let's go like bully this guy because he said this."
Hmm.
For what you said the other day, this individual obviously retweeted what you said, and he said his piece, but at the same time was kind of like signal calling for people to come like back him up. You know what I mean? And like I just that shit I do not like at all. Like that shit's weak to me.
Hmm. And just, when people like try to get others to help them in something, like sometimes I quote cheat because I be wanting people to see what I'm saying, understand what I'm saying, and have context what I'm saying. Because if you just reply to something and somebody sees that reply, they're like, "What the hell? Like, what is he talking about?" So that's why, and I make it known that there should be no mistake. You should not be mistaken about what I'm trying to put out there. So that's why I do stuff like that. But getting on
Yeah.
to the social media and stuff like that, you're you're up and coming as a comedian. Do you ever think that something you said on Twitter will come back and bite you?
No. No, I don't care. But I say what I say and that's it.
So you're just like me, because it's so weird that I
You can't
start
like
no, I would say it's so weird like that you start
listen. And not
go
only
ahead.
that, Prince Blue. Like I know who I am. I know who I am, and I don't attack anybody. I don't say anything derogatory. I mean, I do say a couple of messed up things every now and then, but I don't go online and attack people for what they believe in. I don't call people out for a mistake that they made because at the end of the day, we're all human. People
Hmm.
are gonna make mistakes. People aren't perfect, so and I feel like a lot of the times people are waiting for you to screw up, waiting for you to mess up. But if you know who you are inside, nobody can cancel you no matter how hard they try. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the most awesome thing about doing comedy is you could cancel me, but I'm still gonna show up to an open mic and talk shit. You can cancel my Twitter account, but I'm still gonna create a new one tomorrow. You can, yeah, you can cry and bitch and moan all you want till the cows come home, but at the end of the day, I'm still gonna believe what I believe. And I've
And
seen it where like people make mistakes. Like I've seen people get accused of. I'm sorry. Go
go
ahead,
ahead,
Prince.
Steve. No, no, I was listening to you and I was
Oh no,
just
I was saying,
uh-oh, it's the lag. It's the
yeah,
lag, Steve. If
I
you
was
hear me, just keep going, bud.
yeah, that's okay. I'm sorry. Like I've seen people like get accused, and that's another thing on Twitter that I hate is when people accuse like people don't know how dangerous it is to like accuse somebody of something without 100% proof of it. on Twitter. Like, I know there's a certain individual that would show up to Eagles tailgates who got accused of doing things that he wasn't supposed to be doing, and I can't speak for that. But like, and maybe it was true. I don't know. We don't know at the end of the day. But I feel like a lot of people um, need to be careful with the things that they say when it comes to accusing people. And that's another thing that I was just talking about. Like, you see people accusing other people of doing things that you clearly haven't done, or that person hasn't done. And that's the big. I could care. You can make jokes about me. You can talk shit about my comedy. You could say anything about me or whatever I do. But the one thing that I will not stand for is if somebody ever accuses me or accuses anybody that I know of something that I know is 100% false. Because tweets like that are dangerous, man. Like, I've seen it where, oh, he said this, or he or she did something, and like, all of a sudden you get a bunch of backlash and wave for something that you had no chance. And that's another thing about Twitter. You don't really have a chance to defend yourself because a lot of the times people already assume you're guilty before even getting everything together. Like you said, when you retweet something and you quote it, you put it in context. Why you're saying that, why you're responding like that. But I feel like when people get accused of things, they don't have a chance to defend themselves on Twitter.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. And one of the things about that is that's why, I love the fact that I'm transparent about me, and like anything I say in a DM or in private to somebody, I've already said it on a timeline. Or I will say it on a timeline. Like, so it's like, it's not, nobody can ever be like, oh, Blue, this you, got you. You said this, you said that. Like, I know. I also bring up a tweet where I said it on the timeline. So, what are you trying to expose? And I think, honestly, that's the issue with a lot of people. And it's just so funny how I actually chose Real Prince Blue. I don't know why. I just put real in front of it and just went with it when I created my Twitter account. But it makes so much sense now. It's like I grew into the name because people can't like catch me with a this you, or Blue did this, did he say this, or
Hmm.
hey, I heard Blue was this. No, everything it's there. Like, I don't hide anything. Even when I was still working as a police officer, I didn't hide that I was a police officer because I wanted you to know
Yeah.
where I was coming from when all the riots and stuff was happening. That's why people was coming to me and asking me, hey, Blue, what about this, what about that, what's your thinking of this? Because I've been there, done that, and I was in the middle of it. So a lot of people be talking about shit that they just have no idea about, and they
Hmm.
get on Twitter and they want to be Twitter lawyers, Twitter doctors, Twitter attorneys, Twitter hitmen, all the other shit, all the occupations that you can make up the people be on Twitter. They want to be these diplomats or these politicians, and they work at fucking they work at the Family Dollar. Shout out to people that work at the Family Dollar. If that's what you do, that's what you do. But I'm not about to take no political science advice from you, and all your tweets up to that point was Sixers, Eagles, Sixers, Eagles, Sixers, Eagles, porn, Sixers, Eagles, porn, 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 Eagles. Now all of a sudden you're gonna tell me how the Declaration of Proclamation works, and I'm like, where did this come from?
Yeah.
Like, you was the porn and sports guy. Now you telling me why I shouldn't vote for this person, why I should vote for this person, why I should take this needle, why I shouldn't take that needle. Shut your ass up. You take the needle. You vote for who you want to vote for, and
Exactly.
leave me and others the hell alone. Simple as that.
Yeah. It's funny you say that. There's a saying that I was hanging out with a couple of friends down the street, my neighbors, and one of the guys said we should just let doctors be doctors, police officers be police officers, lawyers be lawyers, uh, physicians, nurses be nurses, uh, and you be you, and don't try to speak on something that you don't really know about. And that's another thing on Twitter that people just talk out of their ass a lot, man. Like, like again, I just I don't get it. I don't understand. You know, and like, you know, and I see a lot of contradiction on Twitter, man. Like for example, like, um, you know, sometimes people, they go on Twitter and they're like, oh, I'm having a bad day. I'm having a bad day. Guys, yeah, or what are they like? I'm having a bad mental. That's my favorite one. That's my favorite one. I'm having a bad mental health day. Guys, think of me. Keep me in your prayers, guys. Think of Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. No one cares. Because tomorrow you're gonna get on Twitter. You're gonna go back to Twitter and you're gonna talk massive shit about somebody right after you just said your mental health is fucked up or whatever. Like, I hate that. I fucking hate that's I'm sorry. Like, this is real time. So this is the real me. Stop. If you're watching this, if you're watching this on Twitter, do me a favor. Stop tweeting about your mental health. You're perfectly fine. Okay, you're gonna be good. Okay, unless like you're on the edge of a fucking mountain and you're ready to jump off, then you have an issue. But if you're at your house and you have a roof over your head and you're playing PlayStation, you're on Twitter, whatever, your mental health isn't that bad. Is it really that bad? You know, like, yeah, like,
Hey,
stop.
listen, and you're talking to a guy with, with clinical diagnosis of bipolar major depressive disorder, and I have nothing wrong with. There's nothing wrong with what you said, because I feel like, of course, I could go the whole generic route of you don't know what people's going through. Everybody's mental illness is different. But let me tell you something. When you're like, you couldn't be me on Twitter and then tweet about keep me in your thoughts and your prayers. I'm going through it. Because
Yeah,
people gonna be like, was you going through it when you was trolling so and so? Was you
exactly.
going
Thank
through
you.
it when you was doing this, when you was doing that?
Yeah,
I'm so I know better to get on there and be like, guys, I'm just having it. I'm just having one of them days. So what I do is I just step away. And no, I don't announce I'm stepping away, because that bothers me too. Like, just go the fuck away. Like,
yeah,
I don't want the, oh no, what happened? In my DMs, oh no, Blue, please don't go. I'm like, no, because now I have to tell you, probably the reason why I'm going any damn way. So don't bring your phony ass in my DMs or on the timeline asking me what the don't go, Blue, what happened, who did it. My favorite one, and we're gonna get it, is a perfect segue to the social media sense, is when a female woman, they, who, they, whatever pronoun, says such, I'm having a bad day, or he getting on my nerves, and then the person just simp immediately, who I gotta fight. Shut the
oh,
hell up. Shut
dude,
up.
those are the
Shut
fucking
up.
worst people.
Who I gotta fight.
Like,
Who I gotta fight.
nothing screams more than nothing screams louder saying you're a virgin than doing shit like that. Like, like, uh, oh, who, like, oh, or my favorite one is, oh, I'm bored, or the girl's like, oh, I'm bored, and then the guy's like, well, what are you doing? You want to go out? You want to, like, no, dude, shut the fuck up. Like, it's all a game. It's all a trap. And you know what's funny is, as I back 10 years ago, right when I graduated, I don't want to make anybody feel old who's watching. 10 years ago, when I graduated high school, when I was in high school, I used to fucking be that guy. I used to be that guy. And you know what
you
happened? I got nothing. Now all I got was a bunch of messages that got left on read, and nothing happened. So don't do that. That shit. Stop doing that. Stop simping, guys.
who I gotta
It's
fight.
not worth it. You're
You okay, Queen? Who did it, Queen? Are you okay,
yeah.
Queen? I'm here for you, Queen. Like, first of all, you here for a lot of queens. What about your wife? Are you there for her? Would she be comfortable with you being there for so many queens on social media? I see men give more comments to women on Twitter than they tweet about their own wives.
Oh yeah. No,
Sometimes I'd be
it's
surprised
crazy.
that some men are married. I'll be like, wait a minute, he was married? But he always liking titty pics and always doing eye emojis when he see titties and cleavage. He's married?
Yeah.
So I'm like, stop it. Stop it, Simps. Cut
Yeah,
it out.
stop simping. Stop. Look, listen, as a former simp myself, it gets you nowhere. Okay? Don't don't do that. And I used to be that guy. Like I used to be that guy. Uh, uh, and I've come a long way. So when you learn your lesson, if you learn your lesson, you're gonna realize, oh wait, I'm a total fucking loser who's sliding in DMs and nothing's happening because it's Twitter, and of course a girl's not gonna fly across the country to like come sleep with you or whatever it is the case may be. Like I think that shit's fucking stupid. I don't like. Stop simping. Just that's the message. Stop simping, people. Who's ever watching, stop it.
Stop sipping. And you know what's funny is the fact that you see it. I see it all the time, and I just roll my eyes. I just laugh at it. And it's a few people that I know for a fact sent, and now they sent for it. Not even females. They sent for causes. They sent for fake ass
Oh,
outrage, virtue
oh,
signaling, all
oh.
you name it. They got well, Black Lives Matter, blah blah blah. And then you get a tweet where you were saying all types of N words and you wasn't doing a rap song. So shut the hell up. Like
Yeah,
you talking about Black Lives Matter and all this stuff. I have yet to see a tweet from you in the urban areas doing something. All I see is a tweet with you talking about how your coffee at your upscale coffee shop was not right.
yeah.
When
There's
have the
this.
last time you been somewhere?
It's funny. It's real funny again. You say that because there's this. I forgot who it was. One of my comedian buddies. He's like, yeah, all these. It was a little subjective, what he said, but he's gonna say. I'm gonna say it anyways. He says, I see a lot of females here claiming Black Lives Matter, and they won't date me. They won't date me because they're all about Black Lives Matter, but they don't date any black dudes.
Hello,
So,
hello.
I
They be like Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. Hey, give me your top three best looking people in Hollywood. Oh, Chris Evans, Heath Ledger. Uh, what? Black Lives Matter, don't they? Like you gonna add some color into your list? Oh no, that's just my preference. I don't have an issue with a black guy. Like if I was drunk or in college or something like that, it'd be like some weird ass scenario, and my dad never found out. But
Oh
it just
wow.
it just
Yeah.
cracked me up so much. All the hashtag BLM and stuff like that. And I never see those people when I'm in the urban areas helping out. When I was patrolling, I never saw them, but I did see them when Black lives were in their neighborhoods and they thought they didn't belong there. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I had plenty of those calls. Hey, she's saying the guy is suspicious. Well, why is he suspicious, headquarters? I want her to say it. Say it. Why is he suspicious? Oh, you mean your black neighbor? Yeah, he lives next door. You didn't know you had a black neighbor? Man, listen. I could go on and on. Who I can, and I don't care about
Yeah.
hurt people's feelings because it's real.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just a crazy time we live in, man. We live in a time where people are easily offended. We live in a time where everybody wants sympathy for whatever stupid reason. We want here's my favorite one. Everybody's a victim of something nowadays. A victim either of
Oh,
circumstance. They're
oh,
victims. Everybody is a
oh,
victim. Like stop living. You're not a victim. Not like
oh.
I'm pretty sure not like like for example like I have this friend of mine. He's a black man. He's a black man and went to high school. They played football together, and he moved out to Dallas. He lives in Dallas now. He went to North Texas University, prestigious school by the way, and North Texas is a good school. And he goes on Facebook talking about how oppressed he is and how he gets treated differently for being black. And I'm like, dude, you are the most privileged black man I've ever met. Like, and he was like, how can you say that? And I was like, well, see, first of all, when we played football together, coaches would stay after practice to work with you individually. I didn't get that treatment. You got that treatment, right? Then you graduated. You were pretty smart in high school. I had you per class. You were able to go to North Texas University. How are you oppressed there? If you were being oppressed, they wouldn't allow you to step foot on their campus. They wouldn't want you at your campus, at their campus. And then on top of that, you graduate. You graduate and you have a great job from going to school there. How can you say to me that you're oppressed? How are you still a victim living like that? You know what I
I
mean?
do.
And
I
he
do.
had nothing to say.
I do even more, SP. It's like I did my show a while back when I say bullies become the victims. Um, like it's a certain culture on there that anytime you say something about this person, all her cult and her following and people that just want to leech on to that little movement, they start taking up order and stuff like that. And then she says some wild stuff to people. And I'm like, are you really a victim? Because now you're actually enticing and gaslighting people to attack another person.
Yeah,
You're no longer a victim. You're no longer a
yeah.
victim. Now you're the bully. Now you're the prey.
Mhm,
I mean, now you're the yes, you're the prey. Uh,
mhm.
and it's like I'm trying to figure out where do we go when everything's a victim. Everybody's a victim now. It's like you can stub your toe and you can be like, "Oh man, I'm a victim. People, please feel bad for me. Here's my cash app. I stubbed my toe," and I'm like, "I'm not sending you shit for
Yeah,
stubbing your damn toe."
yeah. And you know what? I just I just don't get it. I just don't get it with these people. And I hope one day it all just comes. And I know it won't. It's only getting worse. But but I just hope it gets better, man. Like people got to get it together, and people need to realize that, like, again, like they go on Twitter and they, this happened to me, and blah blah blah. I'm like, you know, so like, what do you want me to do? What do you want us to do? You know what I mean? So like, I just like, yeah,
this
I
guy
just don't get.
opened the
I
door for
laugh at
me.
everybody nowadays,
This
man.
guy
Everybody,
this guy opened the door for me. He thinks I'm weak. I'm like, no, he just opened the door. Like, what? Like, it's I just
yeah, yeah,
uh, I get. So, Poop, let me ask you this.
yeah.
Why I got you before we get ready to wrap this up. So, you're doing your spots. You're
What's
working
up?
as a comedian, and you're doing good things. Ultimately, how is Steven Puga going to um is going to deem himself a success?
Well, I don't. I feel like in comedy, the job's never done.
Okay.
Comedy, the job's never done. There's always room. There's always room to get funnier. Like last night I crushed it, and last night was a success. But I'm still believe it or not, even though I'm an athlete on the outside. I mean, I'm a comedian on the outside. I'm still an athlete at heart. So like, I'm always looking for room to get better because I feel like unless I think deeming a success in comedy would be like Netflix, would be selling out arenas.
Mhm.
That's like the mountaintop. But for an up and comer like me, success for me right now is just continue to just get better, continue to perfect your jokes, keep writing, and always bring it because you never know who's going to be in the crowd. That's another thing that I want to point out. If you're a performer, if you're doing anything that has to do with entertainment, or if you're a bodybuilder, or if you're a track runner or whatever, always find a way to get better yourself. There's always room for improvement. But the most important thing is always bring it 100%. It doesn't, like, I've done shows in a theater, I've done shows in a backyard, and you never know. And that's another thing. Here's my favorite thing: you never know who's watching you. And before I get out, this is how I want to share. This is how I broke into the comedy scene, or I broke into the comedy club. There's the open mic scene, and then there's the club scene, right? And I'm finally breaking my way into the club scene. You never know who's watching you. Like that backyard contest that I was just telling you about right now. The feature act of the from the comedy club that weekend was there in the crowd, and he saw me do 15 minutes. I ended up winning the whole thing. And this man, his name's Brian Dunkelman. He was one of the original hosts of American Idol with Ryan Seacrest, and he was at this party, and he gave me pointers, he gave me his number, and when he came back into town about a month ago, he got me on stage at the comedy club, and I ended up doing really well. And the owner of the club, I lucked out, and you got to be lucky. You don't get there. Here's another thing about comedy: you don't get there. I mean, you can be great, you can be good, but you're gonna cool. You got to be respectful. You got to be a cool hang, and that's what success is to me. Just continue to get better, learn, and always bring it, man. Like I feel like the mountain of success is never ending, especially in comedy, for sure.
Oh man, that's good. And you know what? Running my damn mouth, I didn't ask two-part question. Give me some of your influences in comedy, and give me your top 5 comedians of all time.
Oh wow, that's probably going to be the same list. So my influence in comedy, when I was 4 years old, I mean, when I was in the fourth grade, my parents had just got DirecTV. They had just got DirecTV, and I stumbled. I was getting ready for school one day, and I stumbled upon a Michael Winslow stand-up special, and I had yeah.
No
And
way, not
yeah.
Jones.
But hold on. So this guy, I'm watching this guy do voices and sound effects, and he's killing it, and I'm laughing my ass off, 8 years old, watching this guy. So I go to school the next day, or I go to school that morning, and I try to do those same things that he was doing, trying to just make people laugh. So that's one guy that I guess not that I was biting off of his jokes. I was 8 years old. I had no idea what comedy was, but I was very influenced by it. Cheech and Chong, one of the early comedy got me into comedy duos.
Yeah.
When I was in, I think, the fourth grade again, my uncle, he had a record player, the vinyl record player, in his room, and he had the Cheech and Chong wedding album, I think it was, and he put on Earache My Eye, and I just completely lost it. I was laughing my ass off for like 2 days straight, just hearing the music, and then the dad comes into the room, and he finds his son dressed in a fucking tutu, and why are you turn it off, turn it down, and he turns it back up, and he beats the shit out of him. That was funny as hell. But honestly, I know it's gonna be a generic answer, but I grew up watching the Chappelle Show, as just like I'm pretty sure you did.
Oh, yeah.
And granted, I shouldn't. I mean, I was a little too young to be watching the Chappelle Show, but I would stay up late to catch Dave and the crew just absolutely murder their skits. And that's what, I used to download music too on my mom's computer. I put like so many viruses in it, but
Was it
but
music you were downloading there,
oh
Steven?
yes, I promise. I'm a good Catholic. I'm a good practicing Catholic. but no, I downloaded Dave Chappelle's one of his I forgot the name of his that special. It was one of his early ones where he's in San Francisco, and I would listen to that record nonstop. Dave Chappelle, and I got to see Dave Chappelle live like about 5 years ago. To see like one of my comedy here. I wasn't a comedian then, but to see like Dave live is like an experience in itself. So he's definitely an influence on me. Um, I would say another influence on me. I know a lot of people don't know him. He's one of my favorite comedians. And I was so disappointed that I didn't get a chance to see him when I went to LA back in May. Is Anthony Jeselnik. I don't know if you know who Anthony Jeselnik is. He does dark humor.
No.
Dude, go to after we're done here, go to YouTube, type in Anthony Jeselnik, and just go down the rabbit hole of like fucked up shit he says. And that's one of my that guy is one of my heroes and influences. Definitely. And people, I get a lot of comparisons, humble brag, but a lot of people are like, dude, you remind me a lot of Anthony Jeselnik. You have that Jeselnik cadence, the timing, the deadpan. Because when I say something mean or I say something absurd, I don't react. I let the crowd react, and I don't react at all. You know what I mean? It's all in the presence, and he's mastered that. Like to me, he's like the Michael Jordan of dark humor. So yeah, no,
I would
definitely those
definitely
three.
look that up. I would definitely
Yeah.
look that up.
So my top five comedians. Okay, number one, obviously Dave Chappelle, because I've been
Hmm.
watching him my whole life. Number two is Ralphie May.
Hmm.
God rest his soul. He passed away. Ralphie May. And I got to see him
Hmm.
at the El Paso comic strip. I took a picture. He was the nicest guy in the world.
Ralphie was
Um,
pretty cool, man. Pretty
Number
cool.
three yeah, yeah, yeah. He was so nice to me. Number three would probably be for me Anthony Jeselnik, just because like he's another big influence on me. Number four is Joey Diaz, Coco. Joey Diaz, I love Uncle Joey. Um, and number five, man, that number five is a tough one. Um, it would probably, it'd be Bill Burr, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, the only person I probably got in my top five that you got in your top five is Dave. So mine is Dave, Eddie, Bernie, Richard, and Martin Lawrence.
Hmm.
Those are my and to be honest,
Yeah.
with
You know,
Martin,
and
he's in there because of a lot because of his movies, the way he writes his shows, but it all goes into comedy for me, so
oh
he's
yeah.
definitely in there.
Oh no, he's definitely a killer, man. I don't know if you've heard this story. Uh, Martin Lawrence used to open up for Chris Rock,
Yes,
and
yes.
Martin Lawrence, uh, uh, Martin Lawrence freaked out Chris Rock because Chris Rock, back in what I want to say a bit too, I want to say what the late mid '90s into the 2000s, Chris Rock, and then he brings on Martin Lawrence, and at one of these shows, the crowd is just roaring and roaring and roaring, and they're laughing their ass off. And Chris Rock is backstage, like what the fuck is going on? Like on stage, like is there a fight or something? Like what's going on? He goes out there. He goes out to the side of the stage, sees Martin Lawrence just murdering the crowd, and Chris Rock was like, dude, what the fuck? Like, you know what I mean? It's a really cool story, man. I heard that story real recently on Joe Rogan's podcast. So yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, no, those two guys, man, they're great. The only thing that I regret is I wish I would have been around. I wish I had born to see those guys in action and
Yeah.
see the
Well, you
height of their
gotta.
comedy career.
Yeah,
So
you can only be a fan of what you've experienced and what you got in your lifetime. So I don't get hung up on if people have obscure comedians on their list or people that nobody else has seen because it's what you've experienced. Like in my time, I grew up with those. You grew up in a different
yeah.
time. To you, like Dave is like, Dave to you would be prior to my people. Like that was my goat. That was my guy. That was
Hmm.
trailblazing and destroying it and making people uncomfortable, but they was loving him because he was making people uncomfortable, and that's the best thing about comedy. But let me do this, Steve. Tell everybody what you got cooking coming up and where they can find you, and just the floor is yours, my man.
Okay, well, I don't know. I guess it's what a worldwide audience here, so because we're on the internet. Uh, I have 3 shows booked. I have 3 shows booked for November. I have November 11th here in El Paso, Texas. I'm going to be in the El Paso's Funniest Comedy Contest. So it's going to be me and 14 other comics going for the title of funniest in El Paso. So uh,
Uh-oh. Steven, you pause. Um, so Stephen Paul, his Wi-Fi went out like the Joker's jokes and the Joker, but we're gonna get Stephen back on. So I just want to let everybody. I just want to thank everybody for tuning in and listening, and please, please, please make sure you check out Steven Puga. He's a funny guy. He's talented. He's real. He's genuine. And I know his comedy's not going to be for everybody, but it's genuine. And I'd rather listen to comedy that's genuine than listen to somebody that's pandering and not giving their true feelings and true thoughts about subjects. I can't rock with people that's not being honest. That's always been me. If you're phony, I don't want to hear anything. I don't your jokes or anything like that because they're not genuine. They're not coming from a place of truth. Comedy is a great truth teller. There's a lot of truth in comedy. So if you're not walking in your truth, then how can your comedy be funny? Sure, you could pull the wool over some people's eyes if you got writers, like a lot of comics out there. People are writing their jokes, but it's like rappers with ghostwriters. You can't be the goat if you don't write your own rhymes. Clearly, it's that you're just a very talented lip singer, or you could recite poems or rhymes that somebody else write for you. So, um, that's what I have to say about that. I'm waiting for Steven to come back on. He's gonna hopefully he'll be able to boot back up and give his salutations. But I wanted to address um the whole aspect of like what we was getting on about social media and stuff like that. I just want people to know that to it's okay to not um live in that world. Because some of the stuff that goes down is not real. Some of the people that are gaslighting you and trying to incite you to do things, to say things, when shit really goes down, they're not going to be there for you. So don't let somebody talk you into doing something that you going to get the ass whooping for, or you going to get the backlash for, or you going to get fired from your job for. That's just the way it is. And I hope that everybody, just think about it. I ain't saying you got to listen to me. Just think about it. Um, Thank you for everybody for showing up. I got some more guests coming up, and I can't wait to bring them to you. If those don't know, I love this aspect of my show. Like I could get on here and talk to myself for an hour, but you get tired of hearing your own voice. I love interviewing people. I love talking about real things. Uh Shouting out up and coming people that's doing big things and giving them a platform, even if it's just one person listening. Like my man Puga said before he left, you never know who's watching, you never know who's listening. So don't worry about viewers and how many people is liking something. It only takes one person to like something or to hear something, then pass it along to somebody else. So with that being said, everybody please be safe, have a good time, and please make sure you check out Steven Puga. He's at Steve Puga 20. He's at Puga 20 on Twitter. Please check it out. All you got to do is search Steven Puga and you'll find him. He's on a whole bunch of comedy flyers and things like that. So make sure you do that. And as always, be real. And I am out of here. Y'all know how I always end it.
Yeah. Look, say it with me. Okay. Real time.